Amar Adonai LaYirmayahu Hayom Hazeh Hifkadti Otcha L'Navi Al Mamlachot L'Daber Mishpatai Ulichtov Divarai. Okay, the first part of this is fairly straightforward. We have Amar Adonai LaYirmayahu. So the Lord said to Yirmayahu, to Jeremiah. And then this will be what he said. Chayom hazeh, that's this day, Chayom hazeh, hifkadti. Okay, here we have pakad, recognize that. We've got a hey prefix with a hirik. This makes this a hifil. And we notice the hirik and the T ending, the suffix, lets us know this is a hifil perfect, first common singular. And pakad, of course, in the hifil means to appoint. And so this day I have appointed otcha, you. There's our direct object marker with a pronominal suffix, a 2ms pronominal suffix. So I have appointed you l'navi, for a prophet, or as a prophet, we might say as we translate it into English. Al hamamlakot, over, and then the kingdoms. So coming back, this day I have appointed you for a prophet over the kingdoms. And now we find our next verb here. We have a lamed, which normally, if it's with a verb, is with a infinitive construct. Occasionally they can be with participles, but usually they're with infinitive constructs. And we have daber. And so daber has a patach as its R1 vowel and a doubled second root letter. This is then a piel, infinitive construct from daber. This is going to go together with I have appointed you to do something. And so the verb appoint can go together with an infinitive. So I have appointed you to speak, that's what davar, I have appointed you to speak mishpatai. We have mishpat and we have a pronominal suffix with a patach, and that means that we have my judgments. The patach is telling you that it is a plural noun. Mishpatai, liktov, and here again we have another infinitive construct that goes along with the appointing. So back here it's pointing forward to one infinitive construct, to speak, and then another one, to write. So liktov, this is a kal infinitive construct of katav, and so we have to write, and then over here at the far right side again we have divarai. Again we have a patach, and so it's telling us that it's a first common singular pronominal suffix on a plural noun. This becomes my words. So let's go through this from the beginning. We have the Lord said to Jeremiah, this day I have appointed you for a prophet over kingdoms, to speak my judgments and to write my words. Okay, that's number one. Let's look at number two. V'haya ki yidaber Yehoshua aleichem la'avor et hayarden, v'natan Adonai malchehem b'yadcha, u'avadtem et shemam matachet hashemayim, lo yityatsev ish bifanecha ad asher avadtem otam. All right, we have the beginning, v'haya, and it will be. very common beginning of sentences in Hebrew. V'haya ki yidaber Yehoshua. So it will be that. Yidaber, we have a nice imperfect prefix here with a vocal schwa, and that tells us piel or pual. And then of course we see the patach as our R1 vowel, and that then rules out pual, so we're left with piel. And then the doubled second letter here, Zagreus Forte, confirms that it's a piel. Yidaber, we have a piel imperfect, 3ms, and that matches Joshua here, Yehoshua, which is masculine singular, so the 3ms matches the masculine singular subject. And it will be that Joshua will speak, Yidaber Yehoshua, Eleikem, to you, la'avor. Now we have avar, we recognize as a verb. We see the lamed in front of it. The lamed will typically, when it's in front of a verb, will be an infinitive construct, although as I said above, it can be a participle. It can go with a participle. But here we see the classic vocal schwa under the first root letter and the holum theme vowel, which is a cal infinitive construct for avar, to cross over, to pass over. So Joshua will speak to you, and then the speaking goes together with the infinitive, to pass over. He will speak to you to pass over. Our sense would be he will command you to pass over et hayardain. Whenever we see hayardain with avar, we're talking about passing over physically the Jordan River. So there's our first part of the sentence up to this point. And it will be that Joshua will speak to you to cross over the Jordan, or to pass over the Jordan. And now we have V'natan Adonai malchehem b'yadecha. And the Lord, Yahweh, will give. Notice we have a vav with a perfect, and it's in a context of the future, and so this is a vav consecutive with a perfect, meaning it's got a future idea. And the Lord will give, Natan, malchehem, their kings. Notice we have the malche form, the malch form with the heavy consonantal ending for the segelet. Malchehem, their kings, b'yadcha. This is one of our common 3-in-1 kind of constructions here. We have a preposition, we have a noun, and we have a suffix. So we have beit, yad, cha. He will give their kings into your hand. Okay, let's move on. V'ibadtem et shemam, down over to the other side here, mitachat hashemayim. Okay, and so we have ibadtem. We want to parse this. We see the first root vowel is a hirik, and we see a doubled second letter. And so we have abad, and that is a PL perfect, and the tem ending tells us that is second masculine plural. So, and you will destroy, again, this is another vav consecutive. It's a perfect with a vav in a future context, and so this is again another vav consecutive perfect form. And you will destroy, avad tem, et shemam. This is an irregular form of shame. You put a pronominal suffix on it, the vowel reduces, even though Normally that wouldn't happen for a simple pretonic vowel. Shemam, so it becomes their name. You will destroy their name. Mitachat, from under. This is one of those cases where you have two prepositions jammed together. You've got from plus under. From under Hashemayim, the heavens are under heaven. Then we move on. Lo yityasev ish bifanecha. The beginning of this tells us that we have a hithpael, and it's going to be the yod's telling us that it's an imperfect third masculine. There's no ending, so it's a 3ms. Hitpael imperfect 3ms of yatsav. He will not stand. And so the subject here is ish, a man, will not stand, or perhaps we would say no man will stand. And so we're back to a plain imperfect with no vav, but the imperfect has got the future idea. So lo yityasev ish, a man will not stand, or no man will stand, bipaneka, literally in your face. We would probably say just before you. So no man will stand with your face, in your face, or before you. We move on to the end here. Adasher, it's usually useful to put this together and just call that until. Adasher, sort of like until which. And so until ibadtem, well, we saw that one already, or at the end of this previous line here. You have destroyed. Now, in this case, notice that it's not future. Until, we would probably translate this. It's still a cal perfect, but it doesn't have a vav in front of it. And so we're going to translate this more in a perfect sense. You have destroyed. So until you have destroyed otam, them. So this last part then would be no man will stand before you until you have destroyed them. So let's look at the whole package here. And it will be that Joshua will speak to you to cross over or to pass over the Jordan, and the Lord will give their kings into your hand, and you will destroy their name from under heaven, or under the heavens. No man will stand before you until you have destroyed them. Note that the malkehem is definite because of the pronominal suffix, and so normally this would have a direct object marker in front of it. The Lord will give et malkehem. It doesn't have it. It's not a big deal, but normally you would see a direct object marker before a definite direct object. Just a minor point. One other thing to mention is the infinitive construct la'avor. Notice that the lamed has a patach underneath it. Normally the lamed would have a vocal shua, but since it's going up against a vocal shua, in this case a composite shua, the vowel under the lamed lengthens, and in this case it lengthens to the short vowel that corresponds to the half vowel. So the hatef patach takes a patach under the lamed. Let's look at one more from chapter 24. We'll look at number 6. Siftei kohen yishmaru da'at utorah yavakashu mipihu ki malak Adonai tzavaothu va'atem hikshaltem rabim batorah. Okay, at the beginning here we have Siftei kohen yishmaru da'at. We have a little revia here that tells us this kind of a minor pause, this little diamond looking thing. Siftei is a feminine dual construct of safa, we note it down here, which is lip, and so lips of a priest, we would probably say the lips of a priest, but literally, it's lips of a priest, yishmeru da'at, keep knowledge. Notice that the yishmeru, we have a kal imperfect, third masculine plural. The yod prefix with a hirik tells us it's either a kal or a nafal, and the first root letter here, silent shua, tells us we have a kal. So kal imperfect, third masculine plural, that's what the u ending tells us, the shurik ending. And that matches the subject, which is lips. It's actually dual, but a dual takes a plural verb. So the lips of a priest will keep, or perhaps we're talking about something that is supposed to happen, so we would just say the lips of a priest keep knowledge. We translate it as present tense. V'torah yivakashu mipihu. So we have instruction, law or instruction. Instruction, yibakashu. Notice we have the bakash is our root. We can kind of see that pretty clearly. We have a yod prefix with a vocal shwa. That's telling us it's a piel. But notice that the second root letter, this kof, does not have a dagesh forte. This is because this is one of our Schemenlevy letters, that if one of these letters has only a vocal shwa underneath it, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes the Masoretes would leave out the dagesh forte. So it's just one of those facts of life. But we can already tell it's a piel because we see the vocal shwa under the prefix letter and the patach under the R1 letter. So it's a piel, imperfect. The yod tells us it's third person masculine, and the shurik tells us it's plural. So we have piel imperfect, third masculine plural, and instruction they seek from his mouth. And I think this is the case where we're not talking about lips anymore, we're talking about the people. So they, meaning the people, seek instruction from his, meaning the priest's mouth. Okay, the beginning then is lips of a priest keep knowledge, and instruction they seek from his mouth. Ki malak Adonai tzavaot hu. So for, and then we have malak, the messenger. It could also be angel, but I think a priest is not an angel of the Lord. The priest is a messenger of the Lord. So we have for the messenger of the Lord of hosts. So we have Adonai tzavaot, Yahweh of hosts, the Lord of hosts. Who? And here we just have he. So we have for the messenger, this is going to be the messenger because Yahweh is definite. The messenger of the Lord of hosts, he, and we have to supply an is. He is. Okay, so he is the messenger of the Lord of hosts. Va'atem, and you, here is our subject, second masculine plural, independent pronoun, and you, hikshaltem, and so I think we can pick out our root here pretty clearly, a kashal, and then we see the hey with a hirik, that's going to tell us hiphil perfect, and we got a tem ending, that's going to be second masculine plural, and so we have hikshaltem, and you have caused to stumble, and then we have to find out who have they caused to stumble. Rabim, many. Then down at the bottom here, Batorah, in the law. So notice the patach here and the doubled tav is telling us that we have a definite article here. So you have caused many to stumble, The many is who has been caused to stumble. You have caused many to stumble, batorah, in the law. So let's go through the whole thing. Lips of a priest keep knowledge, and instruction they seek from his mouth. For the messenger of the Lord of hosts he is, or for he is the messenger of the Lord of hosts. This conjunction could very well be translated but you have caused many to stumble in the law. Notice finally that the combination mipihu, the word itself is pi, pe yod, but the pronominal suffix has a he before the actual pronominal suffix vav. Notice this is a variation because of the vowel at the end of p. A consonant is inserted, and this type of variation is talked about on page 86, section 14.5.3. And so we have mipihu rather than mipio, which would not be valid in Hebrew.